Just got done planting probably about 200 head of, head? I don't think that's the right word. 200 corn plants, corn seedlings. That cardboard there is from our mulch from last year. And this is a ornamental corn. This is glass gem corn, really, really beautiful corn. And they sell it around Thanksgiving for about $1.50 per ear. I'm not so interested in selling this. I'm more just interested in growing it just for the fun of it. You can eat it as cornmeal. And you can eat it if you get it at the right time as a sweet corn. You have to get it right as it's ripening, like right at the early stages of ripening. It's really, really pretty. You've probably seen photos of glass gem corn on the internet. So what I did is, if you bought glass gem corn, you'd get a pack of like 15 seeds for like $3. It's pretty expensive. And that's kind of ridiculous because you can literally buy glass gem corn. I'm laughing because our cat's fertilizing over there. You can get, ears of glass gem corn for $1.50 around Thanksgiving. And so that's exactly what I did. Is last year I went ahead and bought a bunch of ears of it and stripped the seed off the ears. And now I've got this giant container full of ornamental corn. This Burgundy corn here, I can't remember the name of it. It's a beautiful, beautiful corn. I like this even more than the glass gem corn, but you can see the glass gem kernels are just stunning. Beautiful burgundies, browns, golds, pinks, purples, greens, every color you can imagine. Really, really beautiful corn. And so all I did was just get a bunch of ears at the time of Thanksgiving and just stripped the kernels off the ears. This is more of that Burgundy corn. I'll look up the name and put it in the notes for this episode. But this, when this corn is on the ears of the cob, is on the cob, it's just really, really beautiful. Dark burgundy, clear, shiny. I like that even more than the glass corn. That's not the only thing that you can get for real cheap. There's so much really cheap plant material around. Some more examples. I'm growing out these mulberry cuttings. And these I got just from a local park. I just cut off a couple of branches and just started growing them out from those. So that was free. And then this is chestnut. And I've got two different types of chestnut. I've got Chinese chestnut. I've got European chestnut here. And these I just got at the store and I just planted them. And I didn't have a very high success rate, I think for two reasons. The first reason is that when you get chestnuts from the store, even though they are alive, they also have gone through the shipping process. They're dried out. They're kind of stale. They rot easily. And so I didn't have that high of a success rate. But, still you can get chestnuts for like $6 a pound with quite a few seeds in each pound. So basically each of these plants probably cost, $2 or $3 when you account for the lost seed. This is some of the glass gem corn that's growing out. This is Willow that I got from a friend's tree that I just got a couple of cuttings and stuck it in the ground a couple of years back, and it's just growing like nothing. I don't really maintain this very well, but it's there kind of as a repository that if I need to plant out some more willow, I've got this to plant out. Tomato seeds, you can just take a tomato from the store and just get the seeds out of it, and those seeds are viable. These are oak trees, some that we grew from seeds, some that we got from just the side of the road. These are apple trees that I'm growing from seed that I planted just from apples that we were eating, and they're growing out beautifully. These were planted last year, and you can see they're nice and full and growing beautifully. These are a type of chestnut. This is called a chinkapin. Someone sold me the nuts saying that they were American chestnut, but it turns out a friend of mine is a geneticist, and I don't know what these insects are. A friend of mine is a geneticist, and he worked through the PCR process with me to do some genetic testing on them, and it turns out they're a chinkapin. They're not an American chestnut. So those, I actually paid for this seed, so those aren't really included here in this discussion. This is an American chestnut. I got this from a nursery up in Washington called Burnt Ridge Nursery, and this is an actual bona fide American chestnut, so it's pretty exciting. American chestnut is functionally extinct. The only living specimens that we know of are in just a couple of groves. Here or there, there's a grove in Wisconsin, there's a grove in Washington, there's a grove in Ohio, and there's really not too many of them known that still exist after the chestnut blight fungus that was introduced back in the 1900s. So I'm trying to grow out my own little repository of genetic diversity here on my farm. So I paid for this. This was $4. But yeah, you know, I guess what I'm getting at, so here's more apple trees. These were planted last year. Not doing so well, but they'll grow out more this year. But yeah, that's kind of the point I wanted to make, is that you can get plant material pretty cheap. You don't have to go to a nursery and spend $30 on one single potted plant. You know, you can just grow your own. This is a purple hopseed bush. This is a type of ornamental bush that it's very drought resistant. It can survive only on the water that it receives during winter, and throughout the whole summer it can survive. It's got foliage the whole summer, foliage the whole winter, and yeah, very, very drought tolerant. And it's called purple hopseed bush because they used the seeds. It's from Australia, and so I think that you know, the explorers who reached Australia, I don't think they brought hops with them, because, you know, they had to prioritize what they put on the ship. So when they made beer, they actually used the seeds from this bush as a substitute for the hops. So it's called purple hopseed bush, originally from Australia, but now you can get it at a big box store. I grew this one out from seed, and it's probably, you know, $10, $12, $15 at a nursery if you buy a potted plant. The only drawback, of course, is time, right? So this was planted a year and a half ago. These were all planted a year ago. Yeah, these apples, these were planted a year ago. So it does take a while for these things to get going. But if you have the time to wait, then yeah, plant material doesn't need to be expensive. And I buy plenty of potted plants myself. So here's a orange tree. And this here is sunflower. And what I did with these is I just bought some bird seed, some sunflowers meant for bird seed, and I just started planting these, and sure enough, they grow. They grow just as well as any seed you'd get from a packet. If you got a packet of sunflowers, you'd get, you know, probably $4. You'd get 30 seeds, 40 seeds, you know. But here I spent like $11 and I got 5 pounds. It's just that it was packaged as bird seed instead of packaged as garden seed. And these all grow beautifully. So that's another thing that I've done. Here I've got apple. I think a lot of these are planted as apple. Apple here. These are all planted from seeds from a cosmic crisp apple. So of course when you plant apple, you're not going to get the same variety back. It's going to be different. But if you start with a really good apple, like a cosmic crisp, if you haven't had them, try a cosmic crisp apple. They're amazing. And so you're basically starting with really, really good genetics. So the chance that you'll get a decent apple if you grow from seed is pretty high. This I actually bought, but I'm going to save the seed from it. This is scarlet runner bean. And so I've got a whole bunch of these growing that I'm going to save the seed from. And then over here, these are hybrid poplar trees, and these cost less than $1 a piece. I got these online I think the website is like hybridpoplar.com. It's a guy up in Pennsylvania. And yeah, they're less than $1 a piece. And once these are planted in the ground, they can grow as much as 10 feet per year. You can take cuttings from them every year and grow out as many additional trees as you want. Just cut a piece, stick it in the ground, and it'll grow. Over here, I've got some avocado that I'm growing out. And what I want to comment on about this is that you can find a bunch of videos on YouTube about the best way to plant avocado seeds, and they'll tell you all these things like you got to scrape this stuff off and you got to stick it in a bottle, in a thing of water, and stick toothpicks in it and all this stuff. And I tried some of those things and they just didn't really work. But what I noticed is that if I just stuck these avocado pits in the compost pile, I would turn that compost pile over a while later and the seeds would be growing. I didn't have to do anything fancy to it. So that's what I started doing, is I just started putting the avocado pits directly into the soil, and they grow just fine. Here's more of that purple hop seed bush. So I planted a bunch per pot, and I'll be splitting these up into separate pots here. Another avocado growing out here. I don't know, it's not focusing, but hopefully you can kind of see it there. So there's avocado there. A lot of this is kind of weedy because they're out here in the weeds and the wind and everything, so the weed seeds get blown in there. But yeah, so just wanted to point that out, that there's opportunities for saving, for obtaining cheap plant material all around us. This is a avocado here, and then an oak that's growing from an acorn. Coast live oak, another avocado that's growing out. So yeah, hope you guys can make use of that. Just get some cheap plant material from the store, some tomatoes, cut the seeds out and save them. Strawberries, cut the seeds out and save them. Raspberries, cut the seeds out and save them. And you'll have seed for days. So enjoy.